Welcome back to the KennyBYouTube channel. While I'm waiting on some parts for the toy hauler build, I'm going to spend the weekend fitting some Prado mods that I've had laying around for a little bit. I've got a rear door storage card and a DC-DC charger bracket from the guys at Kaon Engineering. I've got the Dobinson remote res rear shocks to put in. I did the fronts back in a previous video. I'll put a card up there. Get those fitted. And I've got upper control arms from Tough Dog and a generic Diff drop kit off eBay. So this is the big project that I've got going on at the moment. A full aluminium dual axle off-road toy hauler. So 6.5 meters overall, 4.8 meters long and 2 meters wide on the deck. The deck's out there in the front yard. So just trying to sort out the suspension, and I need to go get some big RHS section for in there, so can't do any more today. It's a Sunday, so I'll do the four-wheel drive mods instead and get that out of the way. If you're looking for one mod in particular, I'll see if I can put chapters, so you can just click on that one and watch that one if you like. Righto, let's get into it. So if you haven't told already, I'm a huge fan of laser CNC cut things. Love to have a machine myself, but Kaon Engineering, these guys make some amazing gear. This is a stainless cage replacement to go on that back door. Being that this is a 120 series Prado, so this one's a 2007. This elastic net was never that great to begin with, I don't think. You can't hold anything in there, it's that saggy, it's ridiculous. Really good price, 115 bucks plus postage to wherever you are. You can get for 345 the cage and a fold down table assembly. I'm not too sure whether I want to get one of the King's clip-on tables that comes off the rear of the drawer, because then it'll sit inside and help keep everything down in the drawers, and they're pretty cheap. And the only issue I see with the table is when you have it down you can't open that drawer. So a little bit torn there yet, but I'm going to start with the cage and then make a decision after that. Righto, let's unbox it and get it fitted. Ooh, I love things that come with stickers. Nuts, bolts and washers, they all look stainless as well. Decent, got a bit of weight to it. Looks fantastic. Got the Kaon logo. It's even laser etched. Ooh. And I wonder what that is. Is that a bottle opener or a bag holder? Instructions are great, very clear. Laid out with the bill of materials, preparation, installation, even the bolt torques. Okay, this should be easy. Remove the 2 screws up the top and the grab handle. 1 screw inside the door handle. Just work your way around the edges and slowly pop all those clips off. Try to be gentle, but pop them out. Flip the back cover over and remove the 7 screws that are in this back plastic cover. They remove the plastic retainer that holds the net. This metal spacer goes on the bottom with the little teeth facing downwards, and that's to space out that recess there between the back plastic and this flat face on the cage. Fit the 7 dome head set screws. Those screws aren't threaded, it's just easier to wind it in with a little Ryobi drill driver and then try and force them down. Make sure that doesn't fall out. Washers, when they're manufactured, you'll feel one side has a sharp edge and the other side has a rounded edge. I was always taught that the sharp edge needs to go towards the surface, so the rounded edge goes up towards the nut. fitted, looks great. Time to throw the panel back on. Finished product looks great. Real solid. Can actually hold decent stuff in there. And I'm pretty sure both those are bottle openers, so that's going to be handy. Next up from Kaon Engineering is their DC-DC charger bracket. So this thing's only $45 and is designed to fit in the front of the Prado 120. So once again, same as the rear door storage cage, just excellent quality fabrication, laser etching, good quality fasteners, very clear detailed instructions with color photos, and a free sticker. So the King's DC-DC charger's been in there for a couple of, maybe 2 months now. I'll cover that in a separate segment, but I needed to fit it in a rush for a trip, so I just utilised these two. Well, that one bolt hole there, threw a screw in here and put a zip tie around it for safety, so pretty redneck, but yeah, was waiting on this bracket. So I get the bracket fitted, and then also need to go and tidy up some wiring, and I also need to put a different battery in here because that's the one out of the buggy, so I need to get a proper N70 battery for that. Step 1 says to remove plastic film from bracket. I've scratched and scratched this. There's actually no film on this bracket, so if you can't find a film, probably isn't one, but that doesn't matter. Extra step for me is to remove this ghetto zip tie, because I've already installed the DC-DC charger, remove that as well. So if you're starting with no DC-DC charger fitted, you're just going to fit the bracket, you first need to remove the plastic trim along the front here. Just remove the little scrivets, pop them out, that comes off. Mine's already off because I've already been here playing around and I knew I had to come back and revisit this, so I didn't refit it. It's in the shed somewhere. So all you need to do is use the M6 bolt and washer, which is the larger one, and there's only one of them. And in your vertical brace in the center, which gives us like a radiator support brace that goes to your bonnet catch, that hole down there actually has a welded nut on the back of it. So the bracket orientation with the writing facing the right way up. That bottom one there is going to go down into that hole with the bolt and washer, and this one's actually going to pick up that bolt there that's on the side of the bonnet catch. So let's do that. Instructions don't really mention the bottom bolt. Well, it does. The wording mentions the bottom bolt and the photos show the top bolt. It doesn't really tell you and point to the bolt that you need to pull out and reuse to fit the top side, so not quite correct. But yeah, you remove that bolt, fit the top one, and then use the new bolt to fit it into that hole at the bottom. And then from there there's 4 M5 bolts and lock nuts, which is to fit the charger to the bracket. So the bracket does have multiple hole options and also spacing, so it must be to fit the common brands of DC-DC chargers. So the holes are actually not quite wide enough for the King's DC-DC charger. It's a bit hard to get it in there. So I'm just going to file a millimetre or so out of the side here. Yeah, so just be careful. It does say on their website it's to suit a projector IDC 25 and a Red Arc BC-DC 1225. And the problem you're going to have, you can get around it, but you do have to file the edges of the DC-DC charger, which probably could give you dramas if you have some sort of warranty issue. It'd be a bit of a stretch, but they'd probably get uppy about it. And to slot the holes further on the bracket will be hard because it's stainless steel, so you'd need some sort of carbide burr, which not everyone has laying around, but most people have a file, so she's just scraped in there and managed to pinch that down, but just be careful of that. But other than that, mint. Next up, I'm fitting the Dobinson MRR Rears. So MyTube remote res. I've covered these before when I did the front struts a couple of months back. I'll put a card up the top here somewhere if you want to check that out. At the time I didn't do the rears because I didn't know whether I was going to do coils and shocks, because I've got airbags inside the coils which have Kevlar sleeves and they're a bit of a prick to get them in there, so, and I really didn't need to change that. The spring rate's right for the load I've got with the drawers and towing a trailer. And I've already got the airbags and the King springs, which is an OK brand, so decided to leave that, not mess with it, and just change out these shocks, which is literally a nut at the top and a bolt at the bottom, so easy. Cheapest place I could find these online was on eBay. I think it was about 660 bucks, free shipping for the rears, all nicely packaged up. There'll be a new nut for the top, cup washers for the rubbers, that'll go on the top of the shocks. Oh, yep. Brackets for the remote res. 1, 2. And they've got a rod on there that holds them compressed. So I might just leave that on at the moment until I get it in. Probably release it while it's in there and then let it go up into the car. Righto, let's get them in. So 19mm to get the wheels off, 17mm to get the bottom off. Then you just got to get the other nut off up in here, which is a bit tricky, a bit tedious to get off. So we'll get that done on both sides and get these removed. Although the instructions aren't that great, so I've got all these bits and I'm just going to mock it up, see where it goes. The reservoir mounts seem to be a left hand and a right hand, so I have to figure out which one's which. Because they're not labelled. 18mm for the top nut. So after a bit of research online, there is actually 2 holes up. There they are, under the chassis there, already there. And these bolts, well, one of them is meant to go in there with some washers and a spring washer. Obviously they're full of crud, so I'm just going to try and clean it out with a bit of contact cleaner. You use the rear hole, apparently. This is not going to be easy. Clean, and then a bit of CRC. I think it's going to be this one. It kind of sits on that bolt hole and that radius I think is meant to go right next to the shock. And apparently you use the center hole in here, not the one on the edge. I think I'm going to need some sway bar links too. I'll have to get them next. Trying to follow what's in this picture that I found online. I'll see if I can link it in the description. Righto, one side done, the other side's the same, so let's do that. It's both sides finished, wheels back on. Now time to take the stands out, drop it back down and torque the wheel nuts up to 100 Newton meters. I'll have a quick clean up and then take it for a spin and see if it rides a bit nicer. The old shocks were flogged and it was real bouncy in the back end. I don't think it was the airbags. Well, it would have been going down hitting the airbags, but they've only got 5 PSI in them when I'm not towing, so hopefully this smooths it out. Next up is new upper control arms to suit the 2-inch lift. So these aren't adjustable, but they're set out to suit the 2-inch lift, which then gives you your adjustability for camber back at the bottom. These are from Top Dog. Fairly decent brand. They feel real solid. Pretty sure they're made out of 1020 grade steel and chrome alloy ball joints. There's a fair bit of weight in them. Feels really solid. Comes with sticker and pretty detailed instructions, so that's good. And also fitting a disc drop kit to fix up the CV angles. This one was just $52 on eBay, pretty generic. Couple of spacers, high tensile bolts. A bit of work to do. Let's get to it. The boring part is done, jacked up and on stands back there on the chassis, which frees up the jack because you have to put the jack underneath the bottom control arm to take the weight, so you can undo the top ball joint. So that's what we'll start with. Take out the split pin. $19mm nut. So you just undo that down a few turns and leave it on. And then on the flat side here, you shock it with a hammer so it releases. There we go. Use it. You're either one of those people that still has the rubber guards inside here or doesn't. My factory ones died years ago and I had a heavier rubber one that I had a stencil in here. And that got blown off, so I need to cut some more, but yeah, if you got yours, take that off. Take off the nut and washer on the other side of the, I don't know what you call that, control arm pivot bolt, I guess, that goes to the strut tower. So the bolt needs to slide out right up through here, and I've got a spare battery tray in here. Which is quite rusty. Not be any more humid outside today as I tried. Okay, torque that up, line up one of the holes. So if not anything, they look cool. Instead of these factory things. Very nice. So now I need to move on to the left-hand side. I'm going to be really surprised if I don't need to take out the crank battery. But we'll see how we go. Passenger side is the same process. Undo the ball joint while it's supported on the jack. Take the nut off the big bolt that goes through the strut tower. And then in here, unfortunately the battery needs to come out. I'll probably need to clean in here anyway and clean up this corrosion and paint it. And you need to take off these little brackets here. They're a 10mm, one on there and one back over here. It's a power steering line. Power lead needs to come off, and then you can squeeze the bolt out through there. Yeet! There it goes. Okay, let's put the other new one in. With the two of these lined up side by side, you can see the difference in the correction there. So that you can see the edge of that one there versus the edge of that one there, and the ball joint. This one's out a bit further, this one brings it in. Fixes up that camber once you get enough lift. Second side is now finished. And now onto the diff drop kit. Already got the bash plates off. Pretty much all I do is undo these big rubber diff mount bolts. I think there's two of those. And insert these 1-inch spacers and put the new bolts in. Pretty simple. 22 mil. Hold that down. Down, down, down. Oh. Okay. New bolts. Washer. Cup washer. Anti-seize. Spacer. Alright. Air protection. I think these are 22. No, smaller. Back to a 19, I think. It's okay. Diff dropped. Now hopefully my CVs will last a little bit longer. Because I've changed them before and it's not much fun. Oh, I need a beer. Let's get this thing buttoned up. If you've got any questions about any of the mods, hit me up in the comments. If you like this sort of content, if you could think about subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. It helps out the channel a lot. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.